You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle. Everybody, good morning. This is a special edition of the Chiro Hustle live stream. Before we jump into this episode, I just want to say thank you to Deed Harrison for joining me today, and thank you to our sponsors over there, Imaging Services. Their website is theimagingservices.com, and that's Mike Tokash. If you guys have any type of x-ray needs in this chiropractic industry, reach out to Mike. He'd be sure to happy to help you. He watches everything that I do, so I'm sure he'll be commenting soon. I have Deed Harrison over here coming in from Idaho, and I am coming in from Grand Junction, which is in the Grand Valley on the western slope of Colorado, where no one lives, and I moved here to hear the birds chirp. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Deed Harrison.
Hey, thanks so much. I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you extending the opportunity for me to do this.
Well, I saw your original post, and I said, you know what? I'm a field general. I'm going to do what I can to support this mission, and I think people need to hear what you came out about with X-ray, and the title of this is X-ray Dead. And I think that we have to discuss, is X-ray dead? Because I know that, you know, the fundamentals of what you do with chiropractic biophysics, which we'll jump into here shortly, is research and results and outcomes. So as we jump into this a little bit, why are x-rays so integral to chiropractic?
Well, there's several different sides of this, and what I will do is I'll speak to my side of this. Mm-hmm. For me, as a trained chiropractor, but also understanding chiropractic biophysics and being trained in research and biomechanics, I see x-ray as a tool to improve the diagnosis that we have as part of the patient's condition. And it's not just to look at, do they have a thin disc, and, you know, do they have a bone spur, and do they have some kind of other pathology? I mean, those are some of the reasons we take an x-ray, but the reality of it is that's more of the medical orthopedic, you know, rationale for why you take an x-ray. You know, do we have infections, tumors, you know, etc. The reason a chiropractor takes an x-ray is to understand the exact analysis and alignment of the spine as it relates to a patient's presenting condition. So, you know, what is the state of the sagittal plane curve? What is not only the segmental angle, but what's the total angle of curve? What is their sagittal posture? Is it forward? Is it backwards? Do they have, you know, what we would call intact alignment in terms of from a biomechanical perspective that basically enhances their ability to perform in activities of daily living? I mean, things like leg length inequality that we see, or mild to moderate scoliosis that can really affect a patient outcome from a biomechanical perspective. These are the reasons we use an x-ray in CBP technique. And it's not just to, you know, take an x-ray and say, hey, Jim, here's what you have. It's an x-ray to say, this is exactly what we see with the alignment. This is how it relates to what you've presented with into this office. And this is exactly how we're going to use this information to intervene towards a treatment approach. And then we're going to work on this together to achieve a better biomechanical alignment and a better patient outcome. So to me, that's how an x-ray is used as a chiropractor.
And for me, being a lay person, I like to tell people I've never seen anybody with worse posture have better health. And it's very simple for me to say that. But, you know, when you start looking at the research behind this, I know that you guys have done volumes of research. Why is it so important for chiropractic to have that leg of the stool intact with research?
Yeah, the research aspect of chiropractic is huge. Number one, it lets us know, are we doing the right thing? Like what you think you're doing and what you're actually doing can be very different things. So if I do have an altered alignment in the spine, what is the best approach to correct that? Are the standard approaches enough? Do they really change the x-ray? And do they really improve the patient outcomes to the extent that we think they do? And if they do, great, let's refine them. But if they don't, we've got to actually do different types of interventions and either develop them or take ones that exist and let's apply it in these specific cases and see, do we get better outcomes? So research is, to me, it's multifactorial. It tests what you think you know, but it also tests new things. And this is the role that I play with CBP research, is looking at spine alignment data, and both from a initial patient perspective, but also from a patient outcome perspective.
I'm always blown away with what you guys are doing, the amount of research, because if you guys don't know and you might be watching this, chiropractic is a triune science, philosophy, and art. If you guys don't have your philosophy, go find a mentor and get some philosophy. If you don't know how to adjust right, get your art down. I was just talking to Deed before we went live, and I said, I've been adjusted by some amazing chiropractors. So if you guys don't know technique, go figure that out. But the other part of that is science. And I know that the research that you do with the CBP technique is very scientific and researched to give the best outcomes. So for those of the people watching that might not really know what CBP is, the acronym, it's chiropractic biophysics. But Deed, can you kind of like take us behind the curtain and tell us the genesis of CBP and where we are today with that technique?
Well, the genesis with CBP has obviously a long history
Mm-hmm.
from the late 1970s, when my father graduated from chiropractic college and started his career and path. And, he was really, a pioneer in his day. And he spotted things that were not correct in chiropractic. And when I say not correct, they absolutely were not correct. He approached it from a math and engineering and physics point of view, which is what his degrees were in. And he pointed out limitations in what the existing ideas and applications and outcomes were. And so then from that, he became a little frustrated, but instead of just being frustrated, he said, let's work on improving this. Let's do a proper biomechanical assessment. Let's do proper biomechanical interventions, and let's test those interventions and see if we can improve this thing. And that's really how chiropractic biophysics was born in a nutshell, without going through the detailed history of it. But the cool thing is, my dad set up a CBP nonprofit research foundation in the late 1980s. And in 1993, our first publication came out. And since that time, we now today, we have 224 peer-reviewed publications that look at reliability, validity, clinical outcomes, critical assessments of chiropractic, literature reviews specific to the spine and posture, to try to give an evidence-based perspective. So now we've got this huge volume of work surrounding chiropractic biophysics technique, and it was really out of the lack of existing proper data and the problematic data at the time.
And you saying that to me, Deed, it opens up me to say to people that your database is what you stand on, and that's where your real value is. And it's really amazing to hear that you guys have been doing such a great, diligent job at bringing research to the chiropractic profession and giving people data to stand on. If people want more research from the CBP group, where do they go to for anything that might help them as a resource?
Yeah, if you go to cbpnonprofit.com, you can see our research website, and you can see all the papers that we've done, and they're categorized by number one at the top, what journals we've been in. And the cool thing, I'm going to go off a little bit, so stop me.
Well, before you do that, Deed, I'm going to ask everybody out there to please share this. If you're finding value in this, just hit the share button. If you find value in this, hashtag the word value to us and hashtag value CBP for this one. But I just wanted to give people the opportunity to interact with us before we inundate them with so much good stuff. But I'll let you continue now. But if you guys are out there watching, just go ahead and please share this, because that's the greatest thing you can do for any of this information to get to more people. So thank you for being with us. All right, Deed.
Okay, so the cool thing is we've been in over 30 different peer-reviewed journals. And these are the top journals in chiropractic, the top journals in spine research, biomechanics, even physical therapy, believe it or not, and even orthopedics. And so number one, you can look at the list of journals we've been in, and that in itself is impressive. And then below that, there's a list of the type of study. So you can look up anything we've done by the study type. Like, do we have randomized trials? Do we have case studies? What type of cases have we worked with? Reliability on the technique assessment, which is very important. Validity of the technique assessment. Spine modeling, spine biomechanics studies. So we've categorized it to be a user-friendly analysis. So, specific to what we're really the core theme that we're talking about today, why you reached out to me, Jim, is the X-ray issue in chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the chiropractic profession, some of the individuals that run this from a political and research perspective?
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle.
Well, everybody out there that's watching, sorry, I think I lost Deed somehow. I'm going to send him the link again as I'm talking to you. So if it looks like I'm not paying attention, it's because I'm sending Deed the link again. I'm going to ask him to please join. Sorry for the interruption out there to everybody. I am back with you. So I'm going to just kind of take the lead from here. Deed's coming back in. I think he was sharing too much good information and the internet wanted to kick him off. It looks like he's trying to jump on. It keeps on wanting him to jump on, but let's see. Can we get Deed back on? There he is. All right. So I think you were sharing too much good information, Deed, and the powers that be. Oh, there he's gone again. So I'm just going to take the lead from here. So the deep dive for both of us was going to be, we're going to talk deeper about why there's certain powers that be that want to take X-ray out of chiropractic. And I think it's really a chip at the chiropractic profession. And in my opinion, it's a belittlement to try to take one piece of the puzzle away from the chiropractor. And I think Deed's coming back in again. There he is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, something happened.
Well, I kind of took the lead there and I said, our deep dive was going to be on talking about taking one little piece away from the chiropractic profession and how that has a downstream effect on the future of what we can accomplish as a professional front. So I know you were going through and saying how you have the research categorized on all the websites, so it's user friendly. So let's just take over from there a little bit.
Yeah, and really, again, specific to the X-ray issue is what we need to do is we need to look at the evidence that exists and see if that evidence actually fits what we see as a valuable resource in chiropractic and what we do in chiropractic. So to me, diagnosis and treatment assessment and direction via X-ray is critically important. And if anybody's out there listening to this, if you also use X-ray in your practice to diagnose and to direct in part interventions, then you have to be aware of what's happening. You have to be aware of the research that CBP nonprofit has put out. And it is one of these things you can't just be complacent, because I promise you there's a movement to take away X-ray rights in chiropractic and stop the chiropractor from using X-ray to assess spine alignment and or vertebral subluxation on X-ray.
Yeah, and I think that people don't realize that we all vote with our dollars and we all vote as a unified front together for chiropractic. And I think that, the more that people pay attention to what you're doing on your end, because I know that there's a lot of people that don't know what's going on in certain camps in chiropractic. And I know that, we kind of get in our little bubbles and we stick with them. But everybody out there, I just ask that if you do have any questions or need research, reach out to Deed. This guy has been working tirelessly around the clock for years, developing better systems to protect chiropractic. And I think that most people just don't really understand what CBP is. And that's why I wanted to bring you on today, because so many people just need to have the resource and the access. One of my words for 2019, Deed, is access. And I think that by sharing this, more people get access to you. So I thank you for sharing everything that you have today. As far as our sponsor, they are an X-ray company today. It's theimagingservices.com. If you guys go to that website, Mike Tokash is a hoot. He'll help you guys out, but he's great with chiropractic business as well. If you need a room built out, he can build a blueprint for you, get you set up. So, Deed, I know that everybody's out there. I just wanted to give kind of like a bonus round to everybody. I didn't prepare them for this. I didn't prepare Deed for this, but I was like, Deed, why don't we do something fun? I would like you to ask me a couple questions to where we can interact a little bit with our audience and a little bit different of a turn.
Sure. So the first question to you is, how did you get involved with chiropractic? I mean, you're now an advocate and a spokesperson for, corrective chiropractic and non-corrective chiropractic, but really you're a chiropractic consumer rights advocate and a doctor advocate. How'd you get into that?
Man, it's so fun to be where I'm at. It's been years in the making. I'm going on 10 years of actually working as a chiropractic bricklayer kind of. And I came into the profession, started out when I was 16. I just knew that I performed better as an athlete when I got adjusted. And I went on to get a scholarship to play college soccer. I knew that always when I was adjusted, I performed better. And as I went through life, I didn't always have, a great financial backing. So I started out going to Palmer College, and I hurt my shoulder when I was playing high school football. My mom took me over to Palmer, and they x-rayed my shoulder. And after that, I just knew that chiropractic was vital to my future. I didn't know why. I just knew I felt better. And as I got more integrated with chiropractic students, I met a guy named Matt Walker who studied chiropractic biophysics, and I went up to Chicago with him and just fell in love with the mission. I fell in love with what chiropractic did, and it frustrated me that more people didn't know about it. And it frustrated me that chiropractors didn't know how to market or brand to the public. And I knew that the miracles were happening inside of our office. I knew that the miracles were happening for people because I talked to them every day. And I was like, and why does this have like a bad brand equity? That I later found that out. I'm like, that's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. How can something that is so vital to helping people have negative brand equity? So then I was like, well, how can I right this ship? And I have a background in marketing and journalism. And I was like, well, I'm really going to refine my skill sets, and I'm going to bring something to the marketplace. And I think I'm going to do something no one else is doing, is make a film. And that's when I first met you. We were out there at ChiroFest at Paul Reed's event, and that's when I first lit my first torch. And I said, I'm going to just keep on walking, and I'm going to protect this thing called the Sacred Trust. And I believed in what you guys did. And then I went out to sell the profession to the public, and I realized how much of a need this still was. Because honestly, Deed, the reason that what you do is effective, the reason that I do what I do is effective, because people just don't know where to go or who to trust for their big health concerns. And when people meet me, they meet you, they meet chiropractors. Now they have a resource and they have access. Back to that word, access. So
right.
I just knew that we could create more value. And now we have this podcast, and the next movie's coming out. I have a program coming out to teach people how to sell chiropractic. I mean, I think I was looking at the pain points of where the profession had a voice, and I was looking how I could help with my skill sets. So hopefully that is a roundabout question, but
sure,
helps people.
Well, fantastic. And then along this line that we're, kind of the theme of this particular interview with us is about X-ray. As a layperson, what do you think about the profession trying to take away X-ray as one of the methods that we assess a patient with and use to treat? What would that mean to you as a layperson if we removed X-ray?
I just think it's The removal of x-ray is detrimental to the outcome for patient care. It's a very positive tool to see what's going on inside of somebody's physiology from a snapshot. And you can tell so much on that film, whether there's some type of spinal decay. You can tell if there's some type of ligament tear. You can tell if there's some type of instability. You can tell if there's a fusion. I mean, you can rule things out, and it's always better to understand what you can do. It's like telling any other doctor to say, nope, don't take blood work anymore. You're fine. Just go ahead and don't do that anymore. It's like, what? Like, that's one of the most asinine things I've ever heard. Like, take x-ray away from the chiropractor, which is the person that's involved with adjusting the spine. Like it never made sense to me. And that's why I bang a big drum and I say, this is ridiculous when it comes to even having a conversation on the table about this is a possibility. Like, are you kidding me?
Right. And I bring this up because the layperson perspective is like what you've just said. Why would you want to treat me without seeing what in the hell is wrong with my spine? Why would you want to? I mean, I get it. There's techniques that don't need the x-ray, and by all means, those are great techniques and they don't need an x-ray. But if we're truly interested in identifying and correcting what's wrong with the spine, you have to have it. And what you've just said is totally the patient perspective.
I think that everybody wants to have a healthier version of themselves that ends up at the front door of a chiropractor. I think that at that point, they trust the chiropractor to be their doctor. I think at that point, they say, I raise my hand. I would like you to do what it takes to get me healthy again. I'm an active participant and I trust you because of your 7 years of education or 10 years of education. Could you please just check me out and make sure that what's going on with me, you can help me with? That's the realization of the chiropractic patient. And here, chiropractors, big hello to you. If people do show up, they want to come in and get checked efficiently, and they want to come into a system that's well run. They don't want to come into D.D. Palmer's office. Okay, they want to see a modern style practice where people are getting stuff done and processing the client properly. So that's just my my tidbit to everybody out there that's designing their offices is people come into your office because they want to have an experience of health. They don't want to come into your private office because you think that that's where, you're supposed to hang your pictures of BJ and Dee. I get it. But anyways, sorry, I went off on a little tangent there about structure of things. But I think that, removing the x-ray is definitely a huge fault to the future. And I think that people that come into a chiropractic office are there because they trust the chiropractor to deliver the outcome.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, for me personally, I'm excited that you're doing what you're doing here with Chiro Hustle. I think it's absolutely needed, to have a voice, connect chiropractors to a good, positive message. And, what you've said, you've got to put your dollars towards the companies that support you. And, without singling a organization out, that is actually critically necessary for the future of the profession. You've got to look at what group is going against what you believe in chiropractic, what group is trying to remove, chiropractic x-ray rights, and what group is trying to support it. And then it's an easy decision. Let's put our dollars towards the organizations and people that support the message and the future of the chiropractic profession.
Yeah, and I think that if more people just knew how to build rapport with each other in this chiropractic community, we'd get a lot further along. And I think that the brilliance of what we've done with Chiro Hustle is we've torn down the walls of divisions within the chiropractic profession, and we've united people that wouldn't otherwise have the ability to shake hands. And we've showed up everywhere. We've talked to everybody. We've developed a strategy for bringing the chiropractic truth to more people. And one of those strategies was to take the leaders and to show them that they're, like Ed Osborne always told me, we're all more alike than we are different. So when we resonate with something like that, Deed, you're back. I'm back.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So yeah, I was just kind of going down the end of it, but I'm a huge proponent of what you're doing with the CVP people. I'm so proud to be a part of that family and to be able to have that deep connection. I think it was God's work putting me into a chiropractic office 10 years ago and giving me the insight of your work. I mean, early on, dude, I watched every video that your dad did. I watched every video that you did. I mean, as a tech, I watched every piece of training material that you ever developed, man. And then I met Jason Yeager. And then I helped develop his training material for his universal traction system. I then went on to meet Joe Ferrantelli. And then I went on to meet these heads of state that are actually doing the work in this profession. And that, what I think, back to what I was mentioning earlier, is Chiro Hustle, what we've done is we've torn down the walls. And we've given people the ability to shake hands digitally and to move forward as a unit together instead of saying we're more different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Appreciate that. And I'm glad you got involved in this and, happen to be connected with Matt Walker, who's a great advocate for the profession, but for me personally, a great advocate for corrective care with chiropractic biophysics and also with x-ray rides. The reality of it is using an x-ray appropriately will improve patient outcomes when you use it appropriately. And I can't believe that message is under attack from the profession itself. And it's just asinine. So I appreciate you having me on here, Jim, doing this. And I'm happy to support your organization, just like you're supporting mine.
Hey, man, I think the most important thing is for people to just keep on helping each other and to be of service and to be available and to help with their skill sets. And I think we all have some type of a superpower inside of us. So if you guys are not focusing on what your superpower is, you need to hone your skills with that and help more people. And I really think that that's the real outcome of chiropractic, is to give, love, serve. But now we need to figure out the business strategies around that. And that's really what I hope to do in the future, is teach people how to sell chiropractic. And I think that that's a huge component. So if you guys want to be able to sell better, I have a cheat sheet in the description of this live up top. Go ahead and download that. And that gives you access to me. If you guys have questions about research or chiropractic biophysics, reach out to Deed. The research, if somebody can put the website in the comments there for the chiropractic biophysics research page. What page is that again, Deed?
It's cbpnonprofit.com.
Can somebody put cbpnonprofit.com in the comments there so people have the resources there? I want to say thank you, Deed, for coming on with me today and sharing your knowledge and where you see protecting chiropractic as being vital.
I appreciate it. No problem. I'm happy to do it. Thank you.
Awesome. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody that's jumped on with me today. I'm going to do a quick rundown. We have Irvin, who just joined, that said, Jim, I think the x-rays are a diagnostic tool, but should not be done in short periods of time. And x-rays is not dead yet. It will take a long time to be replaced by another diagnostic method. Carol Wright Smith, thank you for jumping on. Alan Lovejoy, thank you for jumping on. Les Daniel, pleasure to have you, my friend. Dana Marie, thank you so much. Carlos Gonzalez, you're the man. Thanks for jumping on with us today. And thank you, Evan Katz, for putting that cbpnonforprofit.com in the comments there. Kelly, thanks for joining us. Carol, thank you for posting that as well. I want to say thank you and appreciate all of you that are part of this. If you found value in this, please share it. More people need the message between Deed and I's conversation today. And most of you just need to understand conversing. And if you did that first, you'd get a lot further along than having to protect something that's vital to the future of chiropractic. So with that being said, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. And thank you, Mike Tokash with Imaging Services. Click on that link and go over to see Mike Tokash for all of your x-ray needs. Thanks, Deed.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jim. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.